I just wanted to ask, what do these past two games show you about the spirit of your team and how you guys overcome adversity?
I think these last two games have just brought out that grit and that toughness in this Bruin team. We know it's always been in us, and we are a really gritty, tough team. We just haven't shown it consistently across 4 quarters. And I'm really proud of the squad over these last 2 games. We knew it was going to be tough conditions. Arizona and Arizona State are 2 great teams. And we were tough, we were together, and we played hard and were able to get the win. I'm really proud of how we've grown.
Awesome, thanks. Heading into the Pac-12 tournament, what are you guys going to focus on, do you think?
We'll probably just continue focusing on one game at a time. When we get to the Pac-12 tournament, it really is do or die. So just focusing on that and focusing on ourselves and like continuing what we've been doing these past 2 games and bringing that into the tournament, and just continuing to believe in ourselves. I think that's what we're really starting to do now, and that's when it's most important to do that. So
cool. And then in the first half, like Arizona State had 2 turnovers, and then you guys forced many more in the second half. What changed after you came out of the locker room?
We just stepped up our D. I think a lot of those turnovers came in the first 5 or 7 minutes of the third quarter. We just did a great job of picking up the intensity on D. We know that they're a great shooting team. We knew what we had to do to shut them down, and we went out there and did that.
Awesome. And then obviously a lot of lineup changes this year. And then now it's the end of the regular season. What can you guys say about the chemistry you guys have built?
with how we're looking right now, and I'm excited to see what we continue to grow into.
Okay, cool. And then just one more question. Let's see. What are you guys most excited about for the tournament?
Just to keep playing, to play more games, and to have the opportunity to fight for a spot in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited just to play with my teammates. It's just been so fun. Like these last 2 games, I've had so much fun playing with them. So I'm just excited to continue that.
Cool. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, before the game, Coach Tony read from the dictionary what it meant to believe and talked about sort of claiming the truth about who you are and what you learned. And, you know, I would add to that about character, that character you have to earn, and it comes from the inside. And that, I think, were the 2 words of the weekend that led to the sweep and on the road in the desert against 2 really good, tough teams. And so really proud of our belief, really proud of our character. There have been so many twists and turns where they could have chosen otherwise, and they continue to earn belief and to develop character. And finally, some of the fruit of that labor came to bear tonight.
I'll take questions.
Not everybody all at once.
Okay, I can go first. What was the topic of the huddle like in between the first and second quarters when you guys turned it around a little bit?
Yeah, you know, aggression and rebounding, those were the 2 biggest topics. You know, I think against Arizona State, if you're not the aggressor, they're just going to sort of eat you up. And they're really aggressive. They had 20 offensive rebounds against USC on Thursday night, and they only had 9 for the game. But I bet several of those happened in the first quarter. And I just thought we sort of regrouped a little bit. I really thought only Jalen Penn was the only one playing with great aggression in that first quarter. So really got onto him about, you know, you got to be the aggressor and you got to dominate the boards, or this is going to be a long afternoon. And so really that was all about it, was energy and more talk. We were sort of watching the game again, and that's been something that we've done better the last couple games, but we sort of took a step back in that first quarter and needed to regroup and be the aggressors the rest of the way.
Awesome, thanks.
Sue, anything? Are you good?
Sorry about that. I was having a trouble with the mute button. Yeah, that was quite a display of maturity you guys did collect yourself. What was the difference between maybe this time and a previous time where I know you've probably had these discussions before, but what got them to respond this time? Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think my insight's a little bit, limited, because if I was, had it perfectly done, I would have prevented it before. But I think the reality is that when you go through the fires of adversity, it either develops character and refines you, or it makes you bitter and go into yourself. And I think that's sort of the life lesson, right? I mean, only diamonds are only made through intense pressure and heat. And, I think we had to be willing to let the pressure heat us up, and then choose refinement, okay, I want this to work in me, as painful as it is, as frustrating as it is. I want it to develop character on the inside. And I think that's when you use the perfect word, the mature response that you saw, I think comes from those kinds of hard choices. And isn't that what life is? Adversity happens to all of us. I think, especially with what's happening in our world right now, life is hard, and we have to make really difficult choices. But how we respond to those things, especially the things out of our control, really determine the maturing that actually happens. And so, I think that's maybe one of the things I'm most proud of with this group, is that they have chosen refinement. They have chosen each other. They've chosen a selflessness. And I think that's what allowed them to respond. I think, a couple people set the tone in that. Chantel Horvat, I mean, she's one of the players on our team that hardly gets to practice because we have to manage her load. And she had 0 rebounds at halftime, and she had 10 to end the game. On top of that, at the first mark of the third quarter, we only had 7 passion plays as a team. She had 6 of them. And I just think someone like that sets the tone of, like, how are we going to respond? I think Cameron Brown sets the tone. She's just always engaged, always knows what the team needs from her. That was evident in the last possession when they drew up a play for 0 and she blocked that shot on the 3 because she had done so much mental preparation work to help us. And so I just think it's so, I think the certain people made really selfless plays. I thought Jalen Penn's defense on number 30 was just spectacular. She's one of the most high usage players in the entire country. Jalen Penn just really took pride in her defense on that front. We held number 12 to 1 offensive rebound for the game, only 9 offensive rebounds for the entire team. And they had 20 against USC. So all those things factoring in. But really, to answer your question, I think that the maturing comes when you choose, you've heard me quote Tony Bennett before, but he says, if handled correctly, adversity can buy you a ticket to a place you would never have been able to go otherwise. And maybe that adversity is finally starting to maybe buy us a ticket to a place maybe we wouldn't have gone otherwise. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Chantel. The striking image when the camera panned off from you guys is that the game was already over, but she was speaking to the entire team in the huddle very emphatically. So it's just kind of shows what a leadership role she took today. Are you still standing by what you said the other night about how you wouldn't want to face the Bruins in the Pac-12 tournament?
Well, I mean, ask another coach. I bet they'd say the same. It really doesn't matter what I'd say. They're my team. But I bet if you ask coaches around our conference, I would say people are saying, man, I don't want to have to meet them early. I think we're coming along. And, the only thing that makes this road trip not as fun is not having Izzy with us. Hopefully she's had a chance to heal a little bit and she'll be joining us for the Pac-12 tournament, but just want to give her a shout out and just tell her that she's missed and she's a part of it, even in spirit. She told me something yesterday that sort of broke my heart, that the hardest part is it's reminded her of last year when she was watching all the games, wishing she could be over here and she wasn't. And we wish she was here with us. But we should be as healthy as we have been going into the Pac-12 tournament. And I just really challenge them, how much are they willing to mentally focus? How much are they willing to sacrifice for each other? How much are they willing to block out the noise so they can have laser sharp focus on the task at hand? And can we be the tougher, more together team for 4 games? And that's what it's going to take. And that's the choice before us. But, I like the position we're in, given the adversity that we've had. And, I think we're in a good position to focus on all the momentum that we've sort of generated and the confidence that we've earned. And let's have some fun at an amazing Pac-12 tournament.